Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is my first video that I'm filming in 2020. God, 2020. Can you believe it's 2020 already? So today's video is all about my past life hypnosis that I did. I am obsessed with doing guided meditations and things like that on YouTube, and I came across one probably about 6 months ago now, where you kind of, more hypnosis than meditation, but I guess they're kind of mixed together, aren't they? Basically, what happens is you go and lay down or sit, whatever you prefer to do, and then you do all the relaxation techniques. You know, you slow your breathing, you relax all your muscles, and then they ask you certain questions and visual images will come to mind. Now, when I did mine, it was so vivid and so, like, it felt like I was actually there. It was insane. During the regression, you are asked to look down in your visualization as though it's actually happening to you. And I remember I looked down and it really shocked me because I wasn't really expecting it to work. But when I looked down, I was wearing a white floor-length skirt, like not like a petticoat, a flowy white skirt and these black boots. And I was in this room that it was almost just like a wooden hut. And when I looked around, I could see this black pot over this open fire that had all steam coming out of it. And there was another woman in the room with me. Now, I had the sense that in this life, I was probably about 17 or 18. And I could see I had long, dark hair. And this woman that was in the room with me was dressed in exactly the same that I was in. Only she had long blonde hair and she was probably about 18, 19-ish. And I knew that she was my sister. And it was honestly the strangest feeling, because it was like, you know, when you know something but you don't know how you know it. It was completely that. So the hypnosis carries on and asks you to sort of look around and think about what you know about why you're there, and you go through all these different questions, and then they ask you to go to the point where you die. And for me, it was, I'd walked out the hut that we lived in. I felt like it was just me and my sister that had lived there. For whatever reason, our parents weren't there anymore. And it was right on the edge of like a wooded, like a woodland area, sort of set on the edge of a village. And I was walking through this wooded area with a little basket, obviously going to collect whatever it is I was going to collect. And I could sense this man walking towards me, and I knew that this was it. My life was going to be over. And this guy walked towards me, this real big, strong guy, and he was dressed though in much nicer clothes than what I was in. I had the sense that he had asked me, whoever I was in that past life, to marry him, and I turned him down, and he was angry. And by looking at his clothes, I think it's because he was richer than I was and was probably embarrassed that somebody poorer than him. I got the sense we're talking about 1700s-ish when this was going on. So he comes towards me, stomping towards me, screaming. I turned to walk away and he grabbed me by the arm, and it was so surreal in this visualization. Like, I could see my arm come up and his hand grab hold of me and pull me towards him, and as he pulled me towards him, he had a knife in his hand and he reached forward and plunged his knife straight into my stomach. So I was there like pressed up against him with this knife in my stomach, and then he pulled it out and did the same thing again. And then he pulled it out and dropped me to the floor. And the last thing I remember was just laying in the middle. There was trees all around and I could hear birds, and it was a really bright day. And as I fell, I could hear the leaves were like crispy on the ground, and they made that crunch noise, you know, that lovely crunch sound. And then it just went black. And I opened my eyes, and I think for a good sort of 10-15 minutes I just sat there in complete shock. Like, oh my God, that was the most unreal experience. And I love to do meditations and things like that, but sometimes I'm kind of almost 50-50. Sometimes I can go really deep into a meditation and it's fantastic. Other times, I'm not going to lie, most times I fall asleep. And afterwards I sat and thought about it, and I just thought, oh, do you know what, it's just so sad. It's actually really sad. Like, there's these two sisters, and during the regression I felt happy. I felt so happy, and my sister, I could see her face and she was like just smiling. And I kind of got the sense like we were outcasts. You know, like the spinster sisters who, you know, probably were accused of witchcraft or being odd or weird. But actually all it was just two sisters who just wanted a simple life. You know, who weren't interested in fitting in with the rest of the villagers, or weren't interested in marrying some guy who they didn't want to marry. And because of that, I'd lost my life. But it made a lot of sense to me as well. I've always been a bit like that. I've always been very spiritual. I was always the girl when I was younger who was like reading witchcraft and Wicca books, and, you know, researching, watching videos about spirituality and all that sort of paranormal stuff. So it made complete sense that actually in a past life I was probably some witch living on the edge of a forest. You know, minding my own business, making my spells with my little cauldron. I really want to do another one actually, and see whether I come up with anything else, but I'm a bit scared that now I've done one, that if I try and do it again, my mind will just replay that same like video, that same memory. But I guess I won't know unless I try, right? But yeah, I love all that sort of stuff. I love the idea that this isn't our first time here, that we come back and learn different things in different lifetimes. That YouTube video, the past life regression one, if I can remember which video it was, I'll link it down below. But that was amazing. But I'd really love to do one, you know, with a hypnotherapist in person, and see what comes out then. That would be amazing. If you've ever done, you know, a past life regression, please leave your story down below, because I love to read things like that. If you've enjoyed this video, I would love for you to hit the like button, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, leave any comments down below, because I would love to connect with you. And until next time, take care.